And here we go, my AKA Patters. If it's Saturday, it's showcase time. And today, we're talking about two bangers for anyone out there that's a comic book process junkie. These are fantastic. If you need a little bit of insight on the steps and the process of American comic book creation, these are two books for you. Let's go. And we're back, guys. Before I show you what's inside of these covers, can I build out a little bit of where I'm coming from when it comes to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Because I was there. I was there when they got hot. I used to own. I had all four original issues too. Issue 1 was the third print though, but I grew up reading these. First graphic novel. These are colorized versions of the black and white work. To me, this is the way to read the Turtles. Now, some people have recolored this since then. Actually, many people have. I feel like there's like an honesty to these colors. They're not perfect, but holy crap, the colors pull you in. And I feel like the availability of these books and these editions, they were in local malls, Walden Books, so on and so forth. This is what grew the idea of what the Turtles were printed. Because at the time, it really was the cartoon and action figures. These, in my view, are just, you cannot put a high enough price tag on the first graphic novel recolors of the Turtles. I believe there's 4 of these. But if you need to get into the black and white goodness, IDW, and boy, like IDW did such a great job. This is the best representation, the best reproduction of the black and white comics. So what happens with this series is Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, they kind of have their collaboration / like story arc. And it kind of even flows into a couple one-shots. But then as Mirage Studios publishes, they bring in more and more collaborators. And at that point, I feel like those books pulled people out of reading Turtles and everyone just focused on this work. But these are, I think these are up to volume 7. I recommend up to volume 3. If you can see right here, we have Michael Zulli, and you guys can tell, like, if you walked into a comic shop and you saw this back in the day, like, you pretty much didn't buy that book, which is why these were dollar books for the longest time. And I get it, like a generation discovers them, they go up in value, so on and so forth. But for the collected editions, it's everything from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 1 to issue 19. And this is right here, Return to New York. This is, in my view, Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird's last great collab. Just with open, free, expansive ideas. The things that they do in these 3 issues, it's extraordinary. And it's of note. Now, some people will say City at War. I do not though. It's okay to cap things, aka Patters. And to further some of our turtle knowledge, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, The Ultimate Visual History. This is fantastic because it gives you a good kaleidoscope of just the iterations and the attempts and just the expansiveness of this franchise. People will, again, they will gloss over a lot of this. I feel like this book, and I ain't look up the pricing before sitting down with all of you. I don't know what the pricing is for a lot of the stuff I'm showing you. I'm hoping it's in striking distance. But I think this is invaluable because, like I said, people gloss over, you know, a lot of the ins and outs of this franchise. And to me, stuff like this is fascinating. So, to wrap it up, this is the one that I absolutely love. This is the one I go to a lot. The art biography. This complements what we're about to look at perfectly. Again, for process junkies, this is maybe like for the first time. And this is something I would expect from McFarlane and Spawn. But this is a process junkie for a franchise. I always thought McFarlane would do something like this for Spawn. Never quite got there. But they bring you through the process of building the franchise. And the art biography, again, dare I say, is invaluable. So what exactly are these books? I mean, look, they're Treasury Edition, City at War, Part 1, Turtles 50. I hate this. Look, cover checklist. Why do we need a cover checklist for this? Why? We just don't have one cover? Are we in an age where a comic book can no longer have a single cover? I don't care if they sell. I really don't. And as you guys can see, we have open notes. We have the ballpoint pen drawings. The paneling. This is something, and I do challenge people on X, I challenge people on live streams to show this off. Because to me, here we go. This is comic book making here. This is how you make a comic. This is what you should discuss. This is what you should show off. And people are just obsessed with finished pages, word balloons, coloring, all this other like BS. And they never find ways to highlight that they're figuring out the process of the storytelling, that they're making decisions, that they're removing panels, that they're trying to figure out what the sequence is. They're trying to figure out what the page can hold. These, I mean, I absolutely love, and I look at this a lot, but I don't look at it nearly enough. And the reason for that is I don't want to damage this. Because I want to have it in decent shape as the years march on. And here, like the title page. And we see, like, this is Eastman just free balling here with a ballpoint pen. But free balling, there's no perspective lines. Right? There's no perspective grids in his cityscapes. And that's because he has a good enough eye to layer the shapes. This is absolutely fantastic. And now that I'm talking to you, maybe I do need like the city at war for these guys. Because I should be able to measure up the final page with some of the process pages. Now keep in mind, this is not the final work. This is just his process. And we see like all of these notes. We see how he notates what happens in every single panel. He notates some of the sound effects. But we don't have dialogue. We don't need dialogue. We can follow the story. And this is challenging when it comes to any comic book creator, especially if you're focused on writing. Because you need someone to really visualize it for you and make it a comic book. The writer never makes it a comic book. The writer just sets up the ideas. No one says a screenwriter is a filmmaker. Keep that in mind. But this is just great too. Like, you know, like the shattering glass with all the flashbacks. And then here, yeah, we get some of the some of the Zippertones here with more notes. Oh, the McFarlane pin up here. Yeah, the Larson pin up. Here we go. Team, the Universe team shot. And we get, here we go. This is the final draft. City at War 51 through 62. So this is the pitch. So look, they have 51 through 62. Look, 51, 52, 53, right? Like they're just, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot to write what happens inside of a comic. The plot, the Marvel Stan Lee process is really the prime way. So I believe there's 3 of these. I have one of them. These are ones I go a little bit more into Eastman's notebook, where he's designing characters, he's figuring out how things work. Again, these page layouts far looser than what we just saw with City at War. But I like the contrast here of, you know, you're trying to get the character down, and you're also trying to tell a story with a character that you may not have ever drawn. So there's a learning process in the comic book production process. Sometimes you may have to draw the character one time, but it has to look like you've drawn that character 1,000 times. And the looseness of this is fantastic. Incredible presentation. I don't understand how these are not widely more well known, more widely distributed. And we see just endless notes, and he's got dialogue captions here, word balloon captions. I always said, of the two, Kevin Eastman was the comic book creator when it comes to Eastman and Laird. And we see, he's just interested. See, look, 2 pages available. Add to fight council scenes. But we see how Eastman is just interested in paneling. He just wants panels. Give Eastman panels, and you get your comic book story. Insanely interesting. Yeah, I'm going to see, these, I know some of these shot up. I think there's a Raphael one that was in the hundreds at one time. I wonder where that is price-wise. Apologies if anything I showed off today you're priced out of. I think it's responsible for me to update you guys on some of the pricing. I think it's irresponsible for me to showcase it and act like you should go out and buy it. So, with all of that, be on the lookout. I'm going to try and get more of these, and maybe a couple more of these hardcovers that I know shot up in value. Yeah, maybe we do need City at War so we can properly look at this and see what the final product resulted in.